In 2026, Texans will choose a new lawyer for the state. For the first time since 2014, the Texas Attorney General seat is open. The office holder now, Ken Paxton, is instead challenging U.S. Senator John Cornyn for his place in Washington, D.C. Several people are running for the seat, including State Senator and oil businessman Mays Middleton from Galveston, and from Houston, Joan Huffman. She is one of the longest-serving members of the Texas Senate and a former prosecutor and judge in Harris County. Plus, there's Reitz, who heads the U.S. Justice Department's Office of Legal Policy. Now, Reitz is also the former chief of staff of Senator Ted Cruz and former aide to outgoing Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. I spoke with him about his first statewide run.
I think that what Texans want and deserve is exactly what President Trump said about me, is a true MAGA attorney and a warrior for the Constitution. When he nominated me for my DOJ post last year, that's how he described me and my work. And I think that Texans want somebody who's going to be a true MAGA attorney and a warrior for the Constitution. Attorney General Paxton has served our state well for the past decade plus, and I don't want to see someone else take that mission-critical role and take their foot off the gas. I think it'll disserve Texas. I think it'll disserve our country. So we need a real battle-tested warrior in that spot. I think I'm the guy to do it.
And am I hearing you correctly, though, that you're looking to continue what Paxton has done? It will be a more continuation as opposed to radical change of what his office has been doing.
Yeah, I think that's a fair description. Look, I think that there's a reason why Ken Paxton is absolutely dominant in the polls right now. It's because he has proven himself over the years to be a champion for the Constitution, a champion for law and order, and a champion for justice. And now Texas Republican primary voters are pretty clear, if the public polling is accurate, which I think it is, that they strongly prefer him to go represent them in Washington. And so I want to really keep my foot on the gas and continue pressing in on all the major issues, whether it's election integrity, border security, the Second Amendment, protecting our kids, parental rights, you name the issue.
And while Paxton was in office, he was infamously impeached by the Texas House. In 2023, it kind of dominated the news headlines. Yeah. How do you think about that whole thing?
Yeah, look, I spent almost 3 years with Attorney General Paxton, and we had to litigate on impeachment-related issues for my entire tenure there before I left to go serve as Senator Ted Cruz's chief of staff. But look, I think that the impeachment with Ken Paxton was a total sham. I think it was unjust. I think that in the absence of any legal legs to take him out, a highly coordinated, well-funded political hit job was led against him. And at the end of the day, look, he was ultimately vindicated. He's been vindicated in state and federal court. His investigation, the Justice Department put out a statement a few months ago saying that they were dropping his investigation. And so, look, I stand with Paxton on that issue.
The knock on you from your other opponents may be that they have more experience than you. So we have Mays Middleton is in the race. He's an oil company executive, was in the Texas House before he's now in the Texas Senate. And then Joan Huffman used to be a district court judge down in Harris County, and now she's a longtime state senator. What's your response if they come on and say, you're not experienced enough?
Yeah, look, I don't buy the premise at all. My competition is going to try to frame me in a certain way. That's their right to do so. But I would stand my record and work experience up against theirs any day of the week. Look, my time, we've talked primarily about my service under President Trump and Attorney General Bondi at the Justice Department. We've talked about my time as Senator Cruz's chief of staff for a couple years. We've talked about my time as Ken Paxton's deputy for 3. But my work experience, I spent 5 years on active duty in the United States Marine Corps, leading Marines. I'm an Afghanistan war veteran. I spent several years in private practice. I was a law clerk for now Chief Justice Jimmy Blacklock. And during all of that time, and in particular my time at DOJ, in the Senate, and at the AG's office, as I've said, I have litigated, investigated, defended, appealed, and done all of the work on all of the major issues that Texans care about. I'm the only one in this race who has actual experience doing the work that's expected out of a state AG.
What will be your priorities if you win election here?
So I think when I win and get sworn in January of 2027, I think the most important thing for at least the first 2 years of my tenure as AG is going to be deep integration with the Trump administration to advance the law and order and justice agenda here in Texas. And I think that that has applicability on all the major issues: election integrity, border security, the deportation operations, cutting back on these sort of far left-wing DAs that are letting crimes run rampant, especially in our urban centers. And so you need a state AG who is going to be deeply partnered with the Trump administration, who knows how to navigate those channels.
Okay, Gromer, so Aaron Reitz has been a top-level staffer in all these different levels. Senator Middleton and Senator Huffman, they have been on the ballot and they've won races on the ballot.
Right.
How's that going to play out? Does Aaron Reitz have a chance?
Well, he's trying to cast himself as a MAGA warrior attorney. Those are his words, and he keeps saying Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, Ken Paxton. So he's aiming for the MAGA vote, the very conservative vote in the Texas Republican primary. If he feels like if he can get in that lane, that's the lane for success. Tough thing to do against quality competition, though.
The biggest license plate change Texas has seen in decades happens this week. We talk about how it impacts dealers and drivers. That's next.